Welcome to Romance Rex, where book besties explore the world of romance novels and encourage you to expand your TBR. Join us as we dive into the hottest releases and hidden gems of the genre. You can find us on Instagram and Threads at Romance Rex Pod. Hey guys, welcome back. This is Dev. Hey, okay, so I'm a little in between books right now, but I have a advanced listening copy of Needy Little Things by Chanel Desamores. Desamore? That's what I'm going to be listening to. You're welcome.
Hello, Jordan here. And I am currently listening to A Tropical Rebel Gets the Duke by Adriana Herrera. So buckle up for some bookish banter because today it's just us. It's Dev and Jordan. We're here. We're going to have some fun.
Yes, we're going to be talking about all things small town romance. And this is not Christina's favorite subject, so she skipped out on this one. I don't blame her because we do not yuck each other's yum. So if she's not feeling it, she doesn't have to show up, and that's her business. Yeah, I love that for her. Put your foot down.
She was not having it. She's like, you know what? This is my hard line. This is my trigger, small towns, right. And that's fine.
Exactly. Because when I want to do an episode that is straight pregnancy trope, Jordan's probably going to bow out.
I have one. I have one rec, but...
We celebrate each other's book likes and dislikes, and they're all okay with us. I don't have a quote today, but I do want to have a rant, a little bit of a rant with you guys about my own tunnel vision. Y'all know I love me Black authors down. I love the Black girlies who are writing the books down. They are my people. I love that. Quite literally my people. Let me stop. But
she's allowed to say those things.
Yeah.
I will not be saying it in that way. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So I celebrate. I love seeing when Black women release books and everything. But when I was looking for the recs, because I read a lot of contemporary romance, I have a good selection that I can just pluck a couple small town romances from. And I was like, where are the Black girlies in the small town romance? And I was becoming more livid as I scrolled through the Rolodex of my past reads, looking for the Black girlies who write small town romance. And my first thought could have been, the Black girlies are not writing small town romance. And that's a lie. Because it is my job to go find them. And so I did. So if you think there's a space where you're not seeing people, they're probably there. You just can't see them. They're not being blown up or talked about as much. So we got to celebrate them as well. So I have a couple honorable mentions of Black authors that I've looked up a couple of their books. I've read some of the plots for a few, and they do fit the small town vibe. Now, some of these authors have other books as well that are not small town, but some people, if you're looking for reading Black women who are out there writing, we've got Brittany Cherry, we've got Lauren Lacey, Mimi Grace, Z Renee. One author I'm actually going to mention today, Zia Kaylee Galan. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but she has a series that is very small town. It is so cute. I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, the Black girlies are out here writing small town romance. If you were concerned, they are. You just got to find them. And let's celebrate them when you do. So that's my rant rave for the small town episode.
I love that. I think I'm gonna take a page out of your book. And I'm gonna do just a little rave. So if you're new here, usually we do quotes at the beginning, but if we aren't feeling the quotes, then we do a rant or rave. I am just really into Threads right now. It really sucks that it's under the Meta umbrella. I'm gonna just throw that out there. I wish it didn't. But anyways, I put out a call on my tiny little following of Threads on Jordan's Book Banter account. And I said, this dark romance girlie needs some help. I need more small town romance recommendations. I said bonus points if it's an indie author, double bonus points if it's an Audible. I said self-recs welcome. And boy, did I get them. They found me. So you went out and found them. I put out a call and they found me. There were a huge diversity of indie authors too, which was so fun to find. So I'm following everyone.
Yeah.
I got 16 new authors to look at.
That's amazing.
All of who are indie. And each one of them had multiple books. So I'm putting together a post if it's not already out, follow our socials on Instagram. At the very least, I'm going to have all of those that were recommended to me on there. I just love it. I just love the book community on Threads.
When it's good,
and I
it's
also,
good.
Yeah, that's where
Some
I
of
see
y'all
a lot
suck,
of. Yeah, no, some of you. Most of my threads though are authors.
Are good, yeah,
like not
yeah.
people who follow authors, but the authors and their
The
PAs.
authors, yeah.
And it is the best world to be living in now.
Yeah.
So join me over there because
on Threads,
it's so fun.
Yeah, I need to use my Threads more. I'm a silent threader. I can repost, but I don't actually be saying much. So I need to use it more.
I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone. And I'm pretending that this is the early days of Twitter, back when I was just throwing shit into the void. And
that's nice.
Yeah, that's my rave. Thank you to all you indie authors and those who recommended new indie authors. You saved me this episode.
Gonna share them.
Yeah, definitely. This is more Dev's comfort zone than mine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I struggled limiting myself to the books that I wanted to recommend because like I said, I love reading contemporary romances. And so Small Town tends to, I feel like when I got into the romance genre, I'm not going to lie, I cannot remember the name of the book. I can slightly remember the premise, which is kind of the premise of every book, that's Small Town Romance. But it was a Harlequin book. I shouldn't have been reading it. I was probably too young to be reading it. But it was a small town. He was a cowboy. He had a ranch. She was some girl who stumbled into town and they fell in love and there was a past after her and stuff like that. So like it was very formulaic in that way, but that's what started my love. I can't remember. I know there was a horse. I know somebody fell off of it. If y'all can find the book that I'm talking about, I would love you so much. But it was a Harlequin book and I loved it. And I think that's when I really started to love small towns. So yeah, I struggled giving you guys Rex today. I'm not going to lie, but I do have a couple.
Okay.
So the first one I'm going to start with is actually the one by Zia Kaylee Galan, or Gallon, Saddled with Finesse. This story follows Reese and Corey in the small town of Alpenglow Ridge. You get to see Reese's character growth as she navigates the obstacles life keeps throwing at her on top of her own actions because we got to point fingers at ourselves too, babe. There's definitely found family. There's like girls. There's spice. And the spice is done so well. I think, I'm trying to remember if I was cringing. But also, so it's by a Black author and the characters are Black. So it was really nice to see that world. And
especially
just
small town.
Yeah, it was very small town. Like she grew up in farming, horses, that kind of life. And I think what I love about this too is that, yes, it's a small town romance, but I would edge it a little bit towards romantic suspense because there is a past and another character by the name of Teddy, I think. It's been a while since I read this book, but there's a past for Reese, who is the female main character, right? And there's a Teddy who is an absolute asshole. You hate him every single time he's on the page. But yeah, so there's this romantic suspense, like thriller vibe a little bit, to not too much. So if you're like, don't take my word that it's a thriller, but there's definitely more than small town. It's not your typical small town. It's not just comedic relief and happy times and like growing in love. There is this element of dark themes. Definitely check your content warnings because I feel like some of them may apply to this, which means, I guess it's a little more than a small town if I'm telling you to check your content warnings. But yeah, I really like that because it's a little different. And I am trying, I am trying to get into my romantic suspense life. So this was a good entry into that because it was nice. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie to you about that. So yeah, that's my first rec, I think.
That leads perfectly to Guilty Minds. It's book 2 in the Little Hope series. So this was one of the recommendations I was given on Threads, and I believe this one, someone else came in to the discussion and recommended this author in the series, and then the author piped in, if I'm remembering correctly. But it's by Ariana Kane, and I saw the tropes for all the books in the series, and I saw bully romance, small town bully romance, and I went, we're jumping in at book 2. I am not going to deal with these other tropes from the first one. And they are definitely interconnected, standalones. I mean, I know the whole plot of the first book now because of how involved the characters are with each other. I didn't even care though, because it was so good. So definitely
Nice, I love
small
that.
town, enemies to lovers, contemporary romance. It's set in an unforgiving small town named Little Hope. Kayla has had a crush on Justin since she was just 13 and he was 18. So just imagine like you're only 13 and you see this like hot older senior,
yeah.
like junior or senior in
Yeah.
high school, and you're just like, oh, and you know,
it.
that infatuation. But even as they grew older, she didn't have much hope for her chances. She's from the trailer park and he's from the wealthy side of town. But while he simply ignored her for most of his life, he actively started to hate her when he returned home from jail a few years ago. She has no idea why he hates her so much and can't keep up with the constant bullying from him and his cop of a younger brother who is abusing his power on her. She needs to find a way out of this town, but there's one complication holding her there. Justin can never forgive her. He knows she's to blame for everything horrible that happened on that tragic night 8 years ago. He'll never forgive her. How could he when his family was ruined so thoroughly? She acts all innocent, like she doesn't know just what she did to ruin him. He hates her, but he also can't keep her off his mind. When he sees just how dangerous her Jeep is getting from the neglect and old age, he can't help but rage fix it. After having it impounded from all the unpaid tickets his brother keeps giving her.
Stop.
And that
I love it.
Is even more unforgivable.
Yeah, because he hates her.
How dare she be this alluring?
Right.
And how dare she drive this Jeep that she can't afford to fix? And these dozens of tickets over the last 2 years. How dare she? She works all the time.
So good.
Like it's. Thank you. I wrote that synopsis. This is
really?
I wrote it. No, thank you. I feel really proud of this one.
You have sold the book to me. Like when I tell you, give it to me now. I need 14 of them. I'm ready for this small town.
Yeah, that was good. So good. Ariana, let's talk because this is so good. I'm reading book 3.
Right now?
I'm writing book. Yeah, so this is coming out later. I didn't mention it earlier because I mentioned it in another episode, an Awning Storm episode. But it's so good.
Sounds good.
And you just know there's a misunderstanding just because of like the conflicting information. But like, where does that happen? And why does the town golden boy get sent to jail for so long?
That's where you had me at. Why was he in jail? Yeah, that's what I want to know. So I'm excited about that.
So good. Now please check trigger warnings. Obviously, this is a bully romance. He is an asshole. In the beginning of the book, Ariana writes just so you know, he's horrible. He is horrible to her. This is not supposed to be your misunderstanding or no. He's terrorizing her. Right. And he is the town mechanic. So like when I say like when he sees these things on her Jeep, he's like, I need to have her car impounded. How am I going to do that? Oh, let's go. She has thousands of dollars in unpaid tickets. She can't pay that.
It so I can fix it.
Yeah.
That is so funny.
And then he has it removed from impound and just brought to her work and she has no idea how. So good. So good.
Good job, Ariana. That is so good. Mm-hmm. From that heavy trauma of a book.
Just normal small town.
Normal small town. I'm going to take us over to Spoons, Oregon.
Oh, I know this one.
My favorite place to be.
It's so good.
The first book that I'm going to mention is Savor It by Tara DeWitt. Tara is my girl. And I tell you, I think we are besties in my head. I love the way Tara writes. Her writing is so refreshing, so unintentionally funny, but also hilarious. And
so
if you
funny.
follow her, if you follow her on any social media, you understand why her characters are the way they are. Because Tara, her posts crack me up. Her engaging with people, trolling people. She is so funny on social media.
Don't mind me. I'm just going to go follow her real quick.
Please go follow her. I love following Tara. So Savor It. We follow Sage and Fisher as they fall in love in the small town of Spoons, Oregon. I've I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this book before on the podcast, so I'm just mentioning it briefly because I do want you to check that out, because book 2, Left of Forever, which follows, it's an interconnected standalone. Book 2 comes out in May, I think.
Oh.
Either March or May. It's one of the M months. And it follows Sage's brother Ellis and her best friend Ren. And this is a second chance romance. And Tara has been leaking lines from the book. And when I tell you, I am foaming at the mouth to get back to Spoons, because I think there's one line that Tara released recently where Ren and Ellis are divorced. When you meet them and Savor It, they are divorced. They're not together. They are co-parenting their teenage son, Sam. And there's a line in Left of Forever where Ren says, "I am so hopelessly in love with my ex-husband." And when I tell you the angst that must be in this book, like, I cannot wait. And there is a line, I think, in Savor It where, even though Ellis is like, they're not together, right?
Yeah.
He has to care about his ex, right? But he says something like, "She's still a bird." And Bird is Sage and Ellis's last name, Byrd. And so he says that about Ren, and it's just so good. Also, aside from the characters, what makes a small town book is actually the town. I know you're thinking, oh, they're just in an area where it's like not a lot of people, or it's not a big city. But the town is actually a character in these books, and that's what makes it a small town romance.
Yes.
You walk down Main Street because Main Street is the only street there is, baby. That's where everything's at, right?
Yes.
You walk down Main Street, you pass the one diner, you see the gossipy hairdresser or waitress, or so
it's
Spoons
those characters
itself, the side characters and the town itself make these small town romances. And so, like, when I tell you I want to be back in Spoons, I want to be there. I need to go see Gary. Was that the duck's name? I can't remember the duck, but
I forgot about that.
Like in Savor It, there's a duck, and I want to go back to see what Gary's been doing. So I'm really excited about Left of Forever. I needed to do that mention of that series. I do want you to read Savor It first, especially if you're listening to this right now and you're like needing some recs. Go read Savor It, and then you'll be just in time for Left of Forever. And Tara's writing is just impeccable. She's gonna make you cry, she's gonna make you laugh, and she's gonna make you wish you lived in the town that she's writing about. So thank me later, besties.
I love that. Love it so much. Yeah. I did read Savor It over the holidays because I remembered you had recommended it. Yeah. And I was all of a sudden I needed a palate cleanser. I needed something cute. And I really didn't remember laughing so much at a book when I laughed at that one. And I was so pleasantly surprised because it sounds so kitschy and cutesy, but you read it and the writing is amazing.
She's so funny.
We should reach out to her because she sounds like a great person to talk to.
Right? I think so. All right. I really only have one more that I want to share, but I'm going to do like rapid fire of 2. One is Elsie Silver's Rose Hill series. Y'all know I'm an Elsie Silver stan. I really just love her writing. I love her characters. Her latest series outside of the Chestnut Spring series, but it's like kind of connected to it still, interconnected a little bit to that same area. We're in Rose Hill. Books 1 and 2 are already out, which are Wild Love and then Wild Eyes. And then Wild Side comes out soon. And when I tell you, I think book 3 is probably going to be my favorite because it is 2 grumpy people. The premise of this book,
I love that.
I know the book isn't out yet, but I'm recommending the series as a whole so that I can get you to book 3 with me. 2 grumpy people. Okay, I don't even know where to start with this. Her sister dies. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. Her sister dies. Her sister had an addiction problem, and we're not sure right now if it was due to that or something else. We're unsure. Okay. But she blames the landlord, who is the guy who also happens to be, he's the male main character, but he also happens to be like a hockey player or
where are we going?
And right, but he's not currently. He has money, but I can't remember from what sport or what he was doing to get his money. Okay, and he reluctantly rents out his home to this person, and she has a kid. The kid is now under the sister's protection or whatever, but for some reason, the guy is tied to the kid. It's not his kid, but I guess because while the sister was living there, he got to raise the kid and saw the kid and probably helped the sister out when she was struggling or anything. But when I tell you they're like oil and vinegar, oil and vinegar is actually pretty good. Oil and water, like they do
Vinegar
not
is
gel.
really good.
Yeah. They do not gel together. And I've never had Grumpy. I'm trying to think in all my years of reading, I haven't read Grumpy Small Town.
It's really interesting because I was just thinking about this a couple days ago. I was like, I just want, because I kept saying Grumpy Sunshine, and I'm like,
yeah, black,
and I'm like, I want just grumpy people. I want angry people who see each other and just let's light the world on fire.
Yes, and that's that you've seen hints of their like interactions in book 2, I think, but all of a sudden in book 3 we're married. So I can't wait.
Oh,
they're gonna kill each other. They're going to kill each other. And I think there's a legal reason pertaining to the kid where they had to do that or something. For her to be able to keep her niece or nephew, I think she had to do that or something. So we're going to see how that plays out.
Maybe.
But when I tell you, I cannot wait.
Maybe they're both Aries. My husband and I are both Aries. And so I live that.
That's fire. So I wanted to quick fire mention that of series.
Fire. It's a March Aries and an April Aries. So maybe that's their deal. Like
it has to be something. And also I didn't read Elsie's first series, Off to the Races or something like that. I think that was, I didn't read, so I don't know the characters from that. And if she's written a like truly grumpy character yet or characters, but I know for me, this will be my first experience with that. Because I've had Grumpy Sunshine. Yeah. I've had Grumpy and just like indifferent, but like grumpy, these people seem to just, I don't understand how they're going to coexist. So I wanted to mention that because Rose Hill itself, that whole town, that small town, again, has its own presence. There are other couples who are living there because it's interconnected. So it's really nice to kind of see how the town bands together. And that's why we read small towns. The next one, briefly mentioning it again, but I have mentioned it before. It's the Skyland series, I think. It's by Kennedy Ryan. You read the first one, Before I Let Go?
Oh, yeah. I DNF'd it because so I did have to DNF it, not because of any serious, I mean, it was serious. Like,
yeah. There was just content.
It was so well written, but it was some really heavy triggers for me. And I was just bawling my eyes out, and it kind of put me in a place that I did not want to go back to. So I couldn't.
Yeah, and I feel that's fine. Yeah. I love this series.
Oh, it's so it's so good.
Yeah, Ryan's just so good with the Ryan. The third book, which is one of the last characters, Hendrix, her book is coming out soon. And I can't wait to read it, so I wanted to mention that.
Skip over.
Hendrix's book might also be super heavy. But also Kennedy Ryan is a Black woman, so we love to see that. Love a Black woman from infinity to infinity. And it's also a good series. I don't know if I should classify it really and truly as a small town, but because all of this is happening in like a certain radius and we're running into the same places, I think that's what I'm going to classify it.
It's a small community.
Small town. Yeah, it's a small community, so I'll toss it in there. But my final small town wreck, and I will die on this hill. Do you hear me, listener? I will die on this hill. The greatest small town recommendation I have for you.
Really? This is it?
Is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon.
Yes.
And I want you to listen to me. I know what you're thinking. Dev, there's aliens. It's sci-fi. What do you mean? Let me tell you something, babe. Where are those aliens? They're on an isolated ice planet, okay? They live in a cave at first, and everybody basically got their own room. Okay? Then after the cave, I'm not going to give you out too much information. Something happens to the cave. We have to leave the cave. They find a valley where they build or finish huts that were already existing in their little valley. They run up and down. There's always a big house where everyone hangs out. Every couple has their own little hut with their families. Babes, it is so small town, and I will die on this hill.
It is.
I find it Barbarians is for the small town girlies.
Yep, because the environment and the town play a major role in the plot.
Exactly. And so that is my greatest small town romance. And y'all know I'm an Ice Planet Barbarian girl. I love them.
Oh, yeah. I love how you were able to slip that in there. I do want to slip in another rec. I've mentioned it. I don't think I've really focused on it. I'm not going to do too much, but Trist 6 Venom by Penelope Douglas. This is a small town. It's in Florida. I mean, it might be technically a medium town, but like the town itself and the community is so small, and it's like opposing communities in the same township, and it plays a major role in what happens. This is another bully romance, but this is sapphic. So it's two female main characters, and I know. And so you get girl on girl bullying. So you get one bullying the other, which is way harsher than any man could ever do. I mean, because we can cut deep.
Women are mean. Okay?
We can be, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put that out there. Really good. But I know I have given so many Penelope Douglas's stuff. So look into that if you want. I just really want to make sure that got repped. Yeah. So I'm going to leave those at that, and I'll have more on our socials, these and more, that are on our TBR. There's always more.
Right. Yes. I have so many more small town romances that I want to get to. So along with the authors that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that you should check out, like, definitely stay tuned. I'll try to inform you guys or keep you updated about the new small town romances that I come across, because contemporary is just one of my favorite genres in the romance space. So I love sharing those recs with you guys.
And I'm a convert. I found my niche in the
the contemporary space. Yeah, and then in small town, I love that.
Yeah,
because they have it.
Yeah,
they have everything for somebody. You know,
exactly. And if you want more small town romance, you want another episode like this, maybe you need a part 2. Maybe you want us to do some more research. Come back with a part 2. Please let us know. Send us a message. There's where you're listening. There should be a little message you can send to us and be like, this is great. Give me more. Give us your feedback. Please leave us a review. Leave us comments. Subscribe wherever you're listening. But just thank you so much for listening to us ramble today about small town romance. If you're looking for more romance recs, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Threads primarily at Romance Recs Pod. You can find our favorite book recs from our episodes, as well as behind the scenes content. Again, that's at Romance Recs Pod. So please be sure to give us a follow, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Bye.
Bye, guys. Wait, actually, what about small town romantasy? Is that a thing? But they always want to go on a quest.
Oh, we could do.
Anyway. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.